Masked Singer fans, what's going on? Joey here, and we are ready one episode into Season 9 of The Masked Singer, and you guys are already asking me, is it time for the first reveal of the season? And well, I mean, there's only one contestant, and let's be honest, we usually wait 2 weeks of a contestant until we reveal them. But let's go ahead and do something different and have a lot of fun doing it. Before we get started, make sure you subscribe, you turn on notifications, and you give this video a thumbs up. Let's get started. So when it comes to The Masked Singer, we have one character continuing into the episode that's now called, we're just going to call it the ABBA Night episode because it's going to be all ABBA songs, aka episode 2, and that character is Medusa. Now, I don't have a character on the board yet. We actually are still waiting on the official cards, which as soon as I get them, I will put everything online for you guys to download and print out at home. So with Medusa, we have 1 week of clues. We've got some visual clues and then an extra swag bag clue. Let's go ahead, go over those clues, go through your guys' guesses, and then break down those clues and compare the pitch correct audio. So with Medusa, this is what we were told, and this is what she actually said. She said that I grew up far from the spotlight, a dancer in the dark, and never quite fit in. I mean, look at me. But fitting in was never something that I really worried about because I knew early on I was born to stand out. So I did my own thing and ignored anyone who wanted me to conform. Embracing my odyssey, snakes and all, has taken me far. From the Super Bowl to this very stage, that's right, technically I've been here before. But this time, I'm here to compete, and the Masked Singer stage feels like the perfect stage for me. Because honestly, look around, it doesn't get much weirder than this. In her clue package, we did get like 3 clues that stood out. We had Buckingham Palace, a true love tattoo, and a chess piece. Next was the swag bag clue, or the extra clue. And in that was, if you can call it a DVD or a CD, I mean, it looks like a DVD to me. And if you zoomed all the way in, it said, snakes on the astral plane. And she said, sometimes success comes in the grayest of places. Those are all the clues we had gotten. It's very hard to pull out one person from those clues in particular. And so this is where the pitch correct audio comes in. Maybe you haven't heard of this before, but every single week we get these clue packages. And in those clue packages, well, they're the real celebrities speaking. Like they put them in a booth, they get a microphone, and then they do a voiceover. And that audio that they use, well, it's not the audio they're going to use in the show. Why? Because if someone used the real audio, you would recognize the voice. And so they take that audio, they run it through Pro Tools, and they kind of either pitch it up, pitch it down, potentially distort it a little bit, and then you don't know who it is. But that's where I come in. For those who don't know, I am an executive audio producer in New York City. I work in New York City radio, and it's my job to make audio sound good. And I've got a ton of programs and things to do that, and so when it comes to The Masked Singer, I'm able to slow it down and pitch correct it. That way you can hear a real voice. And so we're going to do that right now with Medusa. This might be the first time you guys are hearing this voice, and so I want you to pay major attention to it. I'm going to play a little bit of the original audio that they gave us, and then I took the entire clue package, I kind of shrunk it down a little bit for you, and I'm going to play that whole clip. Take a listen.
I grew up far from the spotlight, a dancer in the dark.
I grew up far from the spotlight, a dancer in the dark, and I never quite fit in. I mean, look at me. But fitting in was never something I really worried about because I knew early on I was born to stand out. So I did my own thing and ignored anyone who wanted me to conform. Embracing my oddities, snakes and all, has taken me far. From the Super Bowl to this very stage. That's right. Technically, I've been here before. But this time, I'm here to compete. And Masked Singer feels like the perfect stage for me. Because honestly, look around. It doesn't get much weirder than this.
So without me going any deeper into clues and who the 2 big guesses are, who do you think that is? I mean, there is a clear voice there. And it's a voice that you probably know already. It's a household name or maybe someone you heard in an interview before. Let me know in the comment section, pause, take a second, listen to what you think is going on here, and then I'll tell you the top 2 guesses that everyone's giving. All right, you ready? So the top 2 guesses that everyone is giving out here is Bishop Briggs and Fergie. And for the sake of just comparing singing voices and just the pitch correct audio, I am going to play a clip of, Medusa and then Fergie, then Medusa and then Bishop, and then we'll do the same thing with the singing voices, just so you have something to compare before we go into the clues. So take a listen.
I grew up far from the spotlight, a dancer in the dark.
For me, it's all I've ever known. But yeah, it makes you feel inspired, creative.
I grew up far from the spotlight, a dancer in the dark.
I've seen different hot topics, and I know you tell your truth.
So now that you have a good comparison of just the voice, we can break down the clues. Now, you should be able to make a guess based off of the voice, but the clues are something that's really going to help hone you in on who you think they are. And to be honest, it might be a little hard because we only really, out of all of that, we really have like 7 pieces of information to guess on this one person. And those 7 pieces are that they grew up far from the spotlight, never fit in, dancing on their own. Number 2, I did my own thing, embracing my oddities. Number 3, Super Bowl to this very stage. Number 4, Buckingham Palace. Number 5, True Love Tattoo. Number 6, the chess pieces, because there were multiple. I mean, there was 2, but there's actually a lot more. And then number 7, 340 million sold. We had those quotes on the actual DVD, and she said sometimes success comes in the grayest of places. So those 7 pieces right there are important because those are the only clues we have for these characters. So with that being said, I took the time and went through Bishop and Fergie and collected all the data I can to answer those questions. And then when I'm done, I want you to comment on who you think it is based off of those answers and the pitch correct audio. So let's get started with Bishop Briggs. Number 1, I grew up far from the spotlight, quite never fit in. So she was born in London, then moved to Tokyo, then to Hong Kong before moving out to LA pursuing music. She actually started singing very young. She used to go to karaoke bars in Tokyo to sing Sinatra songs and things like that. So in a way, she didn't really grow far from the spotlight. Unless she says spotlight is referring to being in LA or the music industry, but in a way, she's been singing since she was 7. So, kind of works which way you want to kind of put it. Number 2, I did my own thing, embracing my own oddities. I mean, the only oddity she has is really just like her look, because she kind of looks a little like punkish in a way, but she didn't really start off that way. She was more into like Motown and stuff like that, which was very rare for someone her age. Number 3, Super Bowl to this very stage. Her song Wild Horses was featured in an Acura commercial, and I want to say 2020? And so there's her Super Bowl connection. And then her song River was performed on the show by Queen of Hearts. Buckingham Palace, well, she was born in the UK, so that's kind of a connection there. True Love Tattoo, she has a song called Tattooed on My Heart. So it's kind of close. I mean, it wasn't really on the heart, it was over here. If it was on the heart, I would say it's kind of closer, but it is what it is. Chess pieces kind of plays at the fact that, Bishop. And then number 7, 340 million sold. Sometimes success comes in the grayest of places. Her song, Never Tear Us Apart, was in the movie 50 Shades Free, which came out, I don't even know when. I never actually watched that movie. That movie did 372 million in the box office. So, I mean, that's the only million number that even relates to Bishop, unless you want to go with downloads and streams, but even then, it wasn't even at that number. So, that's what you have for Bishop. Now let's dive into Fergie. I grew up far from the spotlight, never quite fit in, so I did my own thing, embracing my oddities. So, let's start with Fergie. She also talked about dancing and dark and so on and so forth. Fergie originally went to school for dancing and voiceovers and singing, so her first jobs out were voiceovers, and ultimately did background dancing, and then from some weird connection she went to this singing group called Wild Orchid, which at that point, keep in mind that girl groups were really, really big, but she absolutely hated it. I mean, I got a quote right here where she says that she was being inauthentic and wasn't going after the style they wanted to in that group. She wasn't being herself. And what I should have done is say, girls, it's really time for me to go on my own. I need to fulfill this dream of mine to have my own solo album. Because at that time, everyone in the industry was telling her, you got to be a part of a group. That's the only way you're going to make it. So she didn't fit in with that stuff, so she went her own route and followed her own true passions, which at that point was rapping. And at that point, there really were no women rappers out there. You did have Nicki Minaj and a couple other people, so Fergie, in a way, was kind of breaking that glass ceiling. Next was Super Bowl to the stage. The Black Eyed Peas performed in the Super Bowl. I don't know what number it is, but it was in 2011. So that kind of works out with the Super Bowl clue. I mean, it really was a part of the Super Bowl versus the Super Bowl commercial. Then in season 1, if I remember correctly, I think it was Rumor Willis that performed one of her songs. I think I've written down here, A Little Party and Never Killed Nobody. So in a way, yeah, she was on the show before. Buckingham Palace, well, that all goes hand in hand with her name, Fergie, aka her real last name is Ferguson. Now, if you follow the royal family, you would know that there is a Fergie, Sarah Ferguson, who is the Duchess of York. So there's your connection to Buckingham Palace. The True Love tattoo, she does have a song called True, which is about true love with will.i.am. Chess pieces in her music video with Nicki Minaj for You Already Know, which is a big song. She's seen playing chess with herself. Then you have the 340 million sold. Success comes in the grayest areas, and it said Snakes on the Astral Plane. She has a song from 2018 called Astral Plane. So in a way, that kind of works out. The gray clue, I don't have anything to connect gray to. It could potentially mean 50 Shades of Grey, or it could mean, something else. I don't really know. Then, talking about the 340 million sold, Fergie herself has sold 35 million albums. That's not dollars, that's albums sold. Then she sold 60 million singles worldwide, plus another 80 million for the Black Eyed Peas, and that's just records, that's not singles. If you add them together, I'm sure that number is going to fall short of 340 million. But could that mean $340 million sold? Because I am sure if you add up all the albums and singles sold, it definitely totals way more than $340 million. So, that brings us to you. I've given you guys all of the tools to guess on who you think is under this mask. Let me know in the comment section. Go back to the pitch correct audio and listen to it. Let me know if one of them stands out to you. I have had people reach out to me and say, if you watch her video and the way she moves and her body figure, it does point to one person or the other, so you could potentially go back and watch performances from both of them and then watch the Medusa and kind of help point you in the right direction. But you have all the tools now, and let me know in the comment section once again who you think it is. And if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. I am sure that next week, Medusa will continue onward, and we'll get more clues, and we'll be able to pretty much identify very quickly who we think this is. Anyway, I'm Joey. Stay safe. See you later. Bye.